Saturday morning, you know what we do.
That's right. Let's get it in. What's going on, St. Louis? You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. What's happening out there? Right now, my main man, Anthony Shahid, is here. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, man. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready today.
You
I don't
ready
care if
today?
it's raining today, if it's hot today, if it's cold today, whatever it is, I'm ready.
You was ready yesterday.
Hey, man, you made us. One thing you prepared for us when you was in office.
That's right.
And you, as far as I was saying, you was the only man. You made us always be ready.
Right. You at the ready. You at the ready. That's what that's called.
Well, who to your right over there, though?
Come on now. She's all dialed up and everything. You got a little date going on?
Woo, man, that's cold.
I fool around, put on the spot, didn't I? Huh?
Man, you something, man.
Good morning, St. Louis and surrounding areas. They're trying to get me in trouble.
I remember when she wasn't even talking, man. When she first came around us, she wasn't talking. She was quiet and a roast tipping on cotton.
But what lays me out, though, is that voice.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she has it's a soothing voice, and it's almost like one that is able to instill calm in a person. How some people, they add it constantly, they add it, but she has a way of talking. It seems like it's just, dial it down, bro. Just dial it down.
Yes, sir.
We'll get to it, but
yes, sir.
Dial it down.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's an asset that a lot of people don't have. So you have it's a blessing. I just want to say that.
We're going to shout out our engineer.
Oh, man, who you talking about? Who is Timothy?
In the house.
Yes, Lord, he's up there checking it out, trying to make sure everything's running smoothly. We really appreciate his efforts.
You, my brother. Thank you.
So
before we go too much further, guys, please tag 10 friends and bring them in. Make sure you get on over to Facebook, like, tag, share, and follow. Go over to YouTube so you can see the skills that whoistimothy.com is putting forth. We don't want you to miss out.
Yeah, like it, share it, tag it, follow it.
Like it, tag it, and follow it.
Help us out, St. Louis. Help us build the crowd. Help us build a listening audience. You can do it. You can do it. Each one reach one. That's what's going on. That's right. So a lot of stuff been going on this week, but there are a few things that I did want to hit. We only got 7 minutes before we really bring on a guest, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, they're trying to say something about Harris Stowe is being put on notice by the accrediting agency. It's called the Higher Learning Commission. And now this commission obviously has been monitoring Harris Stowe for some time, because now they want to raise issues that Harris Stowe is at risk of being out of compliance with their accreditation requirements. Namely, they're concerned about the fact that Harris Stowe has finished the audit that was late. You know, they're claiming that it should have been done by a certain date. Harris Stowe did it at a later date. They're talking about Harris Stowe is laxed on the strategies to improve retention of students, and that Harris Stowe has issues with graduation rates. So I guess my question would be, what other schools have they singled out, and what other schools are they monitoring to this extent? See, because a lot of times it's the African-American institutions, and Harris Stowe is the only historically black institution in the city of St. Louis. So, and I'm saying that because we're sensitive about that. You know, and so when you fool with Harris Stowe, you kind of like fooling with us.
Yeah, you are.
And so, not necessarily saying that you are doing anything wrong or that Harris Stowe is doing anything wrong, but we are watching.
Well, let me jump in here since we're watching. And this Brother Shahid, speaking for Brother Shahid, I want to know, since y'all doing so much damn watching, y'all watching who getting this money and who ain't. How much is Washington University getting versus Harris Stowe, and how much is St. Louis University getting compared to Harris Stowe or any of the other ones? That's the kind of question I want to know. Since y'all are all into somebody's business and you want to make sure they're doing what's right, let's see if they're doing right for real. Check all of it out.
Well, here's the key to that, though. You know, Washington University and St. Louis University, they're the flagships for the state.
That's my whole point, though.
The flagships don't get all that kind of attention. See,
But that's a problem, though, man. That's a real problem. So that's why I'm saying, since they checking everything, what they say, check the list and check it twice and see who naughty and nice. I want to see who doing what they supposed to be doing. If we're going to do fairness, let's do it all the way across the board.
Well, here's the other thing. This commission, it's called the Commission of Higher Learning. How many black people are working there? You see what I'm saying? Now, I start drilling down. I want to know who is it that's doing the investigating, who is that doing the checking, who is it that's asking the questions. You know, and everything is fair. You know, we're gonna be fair and above board. But who is it that's doing the examination? You know, and how was it that this particular situation comes to your attention? So we're watching, and matter of fact, the sister Collins, the new president, we should probably, if she wants to talk about it.
Okay, I'll reach out.
If she wants to talk about it, maybe have her come on and give us an idea of what she's dealing with, and let her step us through these issues of a late audit, the issues of the problem with retention, and the issue with the graduation rates. You know, we can talk about those things.
That's fair.
And I remember when it was Dr. Womack that was on the show.
We had him on here. He was on here with us
previously a few years back, and he spoke about they enroll students with 1.9 GPA, and they work with them, and they try to build them up and stimulate them to where they can get to that point. So if they're going to take the most challenging students, if we want to use that word for a lack of better term, then that could be a situation. And then on top of that, we talked about the funding that they were given was very minimal compared to others. So now we taking students that need more assistance, need more resources, but we're given less funding, and then you want to say we don't see the numbers.
Well, you know, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, because there's probably very few institutions that would take students that don't necessarily meet the requirements. You hear what I'm saying? And these students are African American. And just because you don't have a 2.0 does not mean that you can't learn.
Yes.
Just because you don't have a 2.0 does not mean that you can't achieve. See, what has happened here is Harris Stowe is going above and beyond the call of duty. They're reaching back.
That's the problem.
See, they're reaching back and trying to bring some students along. And of course, there's a price that you have to pay for that. Now, I know it doesn't have anything to do with your audit, but it may have some impact on improving the issues of retention, and it may have something to do with the graduation rates. But at the end of the day, we have to give Harris Stowe credit, because they have allowed and reached back to bring students along when others have not.
And we have to feel like this. And as a black man, and I don't tiptoe around when I'm talking like this, we are proud of Harris Stowe College.
Yes.
Oh,
we feel good about what they're doing. We're proud that they got a Bosley Hall over there.
Yes.
See, I like that. I don't got to whisper. I ain't got to tiptoe through the tulip. You know, black men got to start standing up and acting like black men, and when they start doing something, then they got to understand it's a repercussion.
That's right.
It's a repercussion. You can't just throw something out about them and then let's dig all the way down. Let's just don't hit one area. Since y'all doing some investigating, you got these investigative skills. Let's see how good you investigate this money that all these other places get, and how come Harris Stowe College ain't the flagship.
Right. And here's the other thing now. Senator Steve Roberts, that's in his district.
That's right.
Yeah.
So have you talked to the senator about it? Did you consult with the senator? Because, of course, he's voting on education dollars.
That's right.
He's making sure that monies to universities and colleges in this state are being appropriated. So let's call, why don't you see what Senator Steve Roberts has to say about it? And I'm wondering if the senator has had a chance to meet with President Collins
Good
to
question.
talk with her about it. See, what happens a lot of times, you got to bring that political stick right on along with you, because you fool around, they drag you out there, and they get you out on the flats, and you by yourself. You look around, there's nobody there. If they're calling me and asking me about issues and meetings and things like that, I would have Steve Roberts. I know he may not necessarily need to be in the meeting, but I would want him to write a letter to them or write something, make a call to let them know that Harris Stowe is not alone. You see what I'm saying? If they find out you alone, you know how that goes.
Yes. Well, something very positive will come from it once we get all the key people in place.
We get to the bottom of it.
And we're
We're
looking
going to
at
drill.
the
All of us
quantitative
drill all the way
data
down.
I gotta
versus
get my
the
drill out.
qualitative
Man, we
data.
got to go to a break this quick. This segment went so quick, bro.
Well, I'm trying to tell you, and then you got a good guess.
Yeah, I got
some good information that's getting ready
Brother
to come
Rashid
up.
Mukmin.
Yes.
You ready to let somebody know. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah.
Keep it on
AM.
lock.
Keep it on lock.
Quick, quick,
Plan.
plan.
Oh! Yes. That's what we're going to do. Get it in. What's going on, St. Louis? Welcome back. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah, AM. We were talking previously about some of the issues that Harris Stowe State University was having, and so we're going to try to check into that a little bit more and see if we might be able to shed a little light on that, because Harris Stowe, like I said, is the only historic black college in the city of St. Louis. So we have to be protective of Harris Stowe. We got to remain eternally vigilant
That's right.
about what happens at Harris Stowe. Not necessarily saying we want people to do something wrong, but we want to know. We want to know, and we want to know why. Okay? So with that, I'm turning over to Brother Shaheed.
Okay, well, good morning, my brothers and sisters. I'm excited. Hands doing a little bit sweating. If you look at them, why? Because I'm sitting here with one of the young brothers that Allah has blessed me to grow up with, that has been traveling all around the country, but he's been back in St. Louis for close to a year, give or take. But we grew up together. His parents raised me at Masjid al-Mukminun at 1434 North Grand in Cass. And that's where I came up at, and Allah blessed him. And he's doing some big things. And when my Secretary Felicia called and asked, do I know somebody named Rashid Mukmin? I said, wait, hold up, what's his name? And she said, Rashid. I said, wait a minute, what's the last name? Mukmin. I said, ain't no whole lot of them now. It must be his son or somebody. She said, you think you know him? Call him. Yeah. Why don't you do me a favor? You call him and let me handle it from there, and then we'll see. But I'm so thankful that you would come into the studio this morning. You're doing some very big things. And somebody tell me you're a big-time movie man now, that you're a writer and producer. You're not the actor, but you're putting a lot of things together. So good morning. Welcome to our show this morning. I need you to speak real loud. You don't have to do too much stuff. Just real loud for me.
Oh, all right.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Good morning to you all too.
Alhamdulillah.
It's a pleasure to be here. Honestly, this will be my first time doing this, like an interview for the film or whatnot.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
Only on
Well, we're
Freeman Bosley.
honored. Yes.
See what
Come on now.
I'm saying?
We have a first. We have a first.
That's why we drill down.
That's right.
Because we try to give people opportunities.
Yes.
You hear what I'm saying? And we try to get to the stuff that needs to be gotten to.
That's right.
Go ahead, my brother. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and what I love about this young brother, he's real modest, but he's really a scholar. He's not going to say it. I know he's not going to say it. But if you don't understand the history of his father and his mother and how far they go back and how they set the tone, and the Quran said, blessed is he who forges first to bring the way for others. But this is your time. Brother Shaheed don't need to talk. I talk too much. Let's talk about what you're doing now. Tell us about what you got going on, because I know something that's going to happen December 10th. Matter of fact, 2 Saturdays from now, from my understanding.
that's
Am
correct.
I right or wrong?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me what you got going on and what's happening.
So we'll be premiering my short film that I made. It's called.
Is this your first?
Yeah, this is my first film.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's actually my thesis film.
Okay.
So it was done through school, but and it's entitled The Other Foot. And it'll be this Saturday, or not this Saturday. 2 Saturdays.
Okay, on the 10th, December the 10th, right?
December the 10th at MX Movies, downtown St. Louis. And it's a history piece. I like to call it a altered history period piece. That's how I describe it. And basically, I mean, the concept of it is that it's a slavery story. Takes place in the 1800s.
Wow.
And the caveat, though, is that the slave race is white and the master race is black.
Oh,
So you flip the script.
Oh, that's called.
Yes, and it's a drama. It's a drama. It's not a comedy or anything like that. It's a drama. So
And I got a chance to see the trailer. It's really intense. It's a very intense. Just the trailer in itself speaks volume about what one can expect to experience. You know, and as I was thinking about what Mayor Bosley was saying earlier about Harris Stowe, in dealing with the film that you have put before us that we'll see on December the 10th, and how it really relates to just we were sharing about Harris Stowe and education and how slavery impacted that.
Yes.
Yeah.
it very much ties into that. I mean, like, how everything is in this country has a lot to do with because slavery was in this country. How things are today.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. So I kind of aim to kind of put that in a film where you come and to kind of be entertained, but it also offers something for you to understand like that. And education actually is one of the important themes in the film. So the film, what's going on, or the story, just to give you an idea, it's basically about a slave who is seeking to learn to read illegally. We have to say illegally because it was illegal for slaves to learn how to read. And he
I don't want to know nothing.
And please don't give too much of it, because I want the people to come out. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I mean, but that's just as we say the log line or whatever
Yes,
when you're doing a film. And basically, the slave is at risk of incurring the wrath of his master. It's as simple as that. It's a story like that.
Does he sneak and read?
Does he sneak and read?
Yeah.
He got to sneak and read.
Right.
If he's gonna, if he's gonna do any reading, yeah, he has to do this. So that's a little bit of the gist of the story. But I kind of wanted to put. People might have expectations when you're gonna hear it's a slavery movie or whatever.
Yes.
And so people think like, well, this is something to maybe make white people feel bad, or because I'm reversing it, or maybe it's to make black people feel good. But it's not on that kind of level. It's like it's something that's presented to get us to think in a different way.
Prick your conscience. That's a prick your conscience. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know, matter of fact, you need to do more of it because sometimes our minds are hijacked.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying? And we think in one way all the time and never consider the alternatives.
And you know what supports that, like with the film, exactly what you're saying is that the fact that anybody listening can think about this. If I say slave, what comes to your mind?
Black.
A picture of a black person.
Yes.
It's the hardest thing in the world to imagine a slave being white. So that tell you right there something's wrong with the thinking. Not that we want other people to be slaves or anything like that. Not that we want other people to be slaves, but that just tells you that something is wrong, even in that concept of how we thinking about that.
Yeah, it's in your DNA.
Yes.
It's in your DNA. I mean, for 500 years, we've been brought up for 400 to 500 years or more. Black people had been slaves. All right, and so that DNA, that breeding, that inbreed, all of that comes on, and we have inherited a lot of that.
Yep.
And so it impacts us. We don't realize it, but it impacts our thinking.
And can I just say something on that? Like,
sure you can.
and also like it impacts the slaves' thinking, and the master race also has effects on that, and it is not all good. It's not. From being in that superior position
Yes.
and the one in the inferior position, it has bad effects on both.
Yeah.
Well, it's playing itself out even still today.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But what made you decide to do the other foot? What made you decide to flip the script?
So there's a couple inspirations for this. One, I'll give two. One is there's a movie called A Time to Kill. With Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson
And,
and the little girl got raped.
Yep.
The white boy.
And but the climax of the movie is a court scene,
Yes.
and Matthew McConaughey is doing his best to free Samuel L. Jackson, to get him free, so that he.
Now, his wife is gonna leave him.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Right.
But I'm spoiling the movie for anybody if they haven't seen it. But
It's been out forever. It's not a spoiler at this point.
But basically, in that climactic scene, what he does in order to get the jury, the all-white jury in the South, now everybody understands the all-white jury in the South, to get them to free this black man, he has to, in his mind, he has to get them to reverse their thinking.
Trading places.
So trading places,
Right.
exactly. So he goes through this soliloquy and he's explaining everything that happened with the rape of this little girl.
Yeah, right.
And he goes through, and at the very end, he said, "Now imagine she's white."
Yes.
Sold it.
And it's
That one sentence.
when you do that
Yes.
and you put yourself, when you do that, I'm sorry, when you do that and you put yourself in that position,
sir.
it offers the opportunity for sympathy and empathy
Yes.
and understanding, and that can help make things better. So what happened in that film, I wanted to make a film that does that.
Okay.
So that's like one of the inspirations for it. I have another. It's more of a religious thing, but I'll just say this real fast. He mentioned Brother Anthony mentioned that I came up in the masjid here in St. Louis on Grand, and one of the things that we learned was something called the message of concern. It was something that Imam Wardi Muhammad would put out. It's every week in the Muslim Journal, and the gist of it said if imagine what would happen to children of the world
Flip the script
if they were had to go to church every day and they had to pray to a black God, a Jesus, and he's black. Like the picture, he's black. Imagine what would happen to the minds and the hearts of the children of the
For
world.
400 years, he painted the picture saying if you change the role and everybody went to church, especially those white kids, and they was looking at the black Jesus, what would happen to them 400 years later? How would they do the psychological effect on them? My brother got a chance to meet Imam Muhammad. I think once or twice. Once he came to the office, another time we had to go out to the airport to meet him.
Right.
But yeah, that was heavy.
But that's also an influence for why I wanted to make this film. That's another one of the influences. It's the same thing as the movie that I mentioned does.
And I want to mention too that in the trailer you had a clipping, a little piece of a snippet of the white actor.
Yes.
And he was out, and the black master was, applying punishment.
A whipping scene.
Yeah. So here's my thing is when I
Applying
see
punishment.
this, I want to go back to what you said because I am Christian, and when I see this white man with his arms stretched out, right? I see him first, and it's almost like he's stretched out on the cross.
Yeah.
You see, and it's almost like you instantly go through and see, because I came up in Catholicism as a child, and we had the cross, we had white Jesus on a cross stretched out. It gave me that image, and then you snap and you go to the black man with the whip, right? And I'm like, whoa, if that wasn't a mind twister.
Yeah, that's right.
That's just from the trailer itself. So to bring this film to a reality, as Mary say, flip the script.
That's heavy.
I'm really thinking that you're going to, with this, the viewers will get a chance to have that empathy, but it's going to be a lot of discussion that come from
It's
this.
going to be No, go ahead.
No, yeah, we hope so. I mean, and actually, so at the event, so it's not going to just be like just a showing of the film. So we're going to have a red carpet. It's a premiere, so we're going to have a red carpet. Beautiful. That's going to be at 11, and then the film will be at 12 noon that day. And then after the film is done, there's going to be a Q&A with myself and some of the cast. We'll go up in the front. We're going to take questions and answer questions and have a discussion, dialogue with the audience.
Right, yeah.
So you'll have an opportunity if you come out to have that kind of discussion and dialogue, in when we do the film. So
let me ask you this: do you, you're not the only person in St. Louis that produces and coming up with collaborations on movies. I think about the Hudlin brothers that from East, they're over in East St. Louis, right? And we got another guy named Philip, is Ida West's son. Do you all ever kind of like talk and come together and maybe just sit around You know, because, I mean, it takes a lot. Now, we can think about a movie, we can think about a film, but it takes a lot more to
that's
actually
deep.
put it together.
Oh, yes.
So that is a very unique skill that you have, and I was just thinking that, you know, if you ever get a chance, maybe you all could have just a meeting or something and just talk about the stuff that you all are working on and talk about the different aspects of it, because it's the movies all movies tell a story.
Yes, sir.
And that is one of the best ways to get to people with a story. And so I was just thinking that perhaps if you all were to meet or something like that and collaborate and talk about things, maybe you could be helpful to one another. Just, and nothing else, the fact that you all then would just know each other.
Yeah, and sharing that information would be good. I'm going to let you answer that. I'm going to tell you something that I know you didn't know, because I didn't know until tonight. But go ahead, if you want to answer.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so I haven't met the person with,
Okay.
but I mean, I'm open to all of that. Like, I'm kind of, this is my first time introducing the film to the public to be able to see it. Like I said, this is actually my thesis film.
Right.
A lot of people don't get to show their thesis film as a product, because none of the times the quality is not really there. You learn it, but I felt like we put the quality in it, so it's worthy of somebody coming to the theater and seeing. So I haven't, but I kind of suspect the more that I keep doing it, I'm gonna take this to as many cities as I can.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't have I don't have somebody who's distributing anything yet, so I'm gonna take it to as many cities as we can. We started in Chicago, we doing St. Louis.
Oh, you did do Chicago.
We did do Chicago. So, I mean, I went to school in Chicago.
Okay.
Most of my actors was from there. So we premiered it there a month ago. That was
Okay.
about a month ago. We did get to do it. And so we're doing St. Louis. We have a couple of other cities that we're working on it. Atlanta, Houston, Kansas City, Memphis. These are all places where people contact me like, yeah, we would like to have a movie, and we're going to try to work and do something very similar to what we're doing here in St. Louis. So, and I'm saying that to say, my hope is that, you know, I do meet people,
Right.
other people that I can work with, or say, yeah, we want to do these new projects, or we can help do that. I'm open to all of that.
Yes.
Now, I know some people in Atlanta. So they one of them actually, when people like yourself have movies and they submit them to these entities, this person is one of the people that actually reviews what it is that you have submitted, that actually meets with you and talk to you about what it is that you got. And a lot of times they're asking for funding. Not a lot of times, all the time, they're asking for funding. So this person is the one that decides whether or not you can get the funding or not, and makes suggestions to you about, well, maybe you need to cut back on this or cut back on that. So this is the type of person I think that might be, and she is approachable, and you can talk to her. Maybe she might be one of these people that might be able to help you down in Atlanta. So you got if you can network this thing.
That's beautiful. I want to just hit with something, then we'll come back and we'll make sure before you leave, you and Mary Bosley, we'll make sure you get
Yes, sir.
the information. It was deep what's happening, Mary, and this is not staged, because I really didn't know how much this was, I mean, how deep it was. Brother Jabir Muhammad talked to me once about this. A witness for me is Allah, and Allah is my witness, who was Muhammad Ali's manager, who was Imam Muhammad's blood brother. And he said to me once, he said, Shaheed, you know, if you ever think about a movie, trading its place its worth, and he wasn't just talking about slavery, he was talking about all of it. That, in other words, now Barack Obama would have been white. Dr. King would have been white. The whole history, all the way up to then, this was like 25 years ago when we talked about this. I was in Chicago at one of the houses with him and Ali on 71st Street. And we were sitting talking, Ali had made some movies. Ali made about 2 or 3 movies himself, but he never got a chance to do this one. It was one of the things that Ali and them was going to do. And Brother Javed said, Shaheed, if you pass first, I'll do it, and if I pass first, you'll do it. And it's deep that you're talking about this now. Witness for me is Allah. Allah is my witness on the Holy Quran. So all praise due to Allah. I can say, when I make my dua, I can tell Brother Javed, you know, through you, Allah has blessed you to do something, because this is really deep, and then it brings the sympathetic down. Because when white folks see some Negroes whooping on them, they ain't gonna think that's so damn funny. I promise you, that ain't gonna be funny at all. And then it make them, like you said, once they found out that baby was whiter in their mind, they said if it was a white girl. When they start seeing what black people absolutely went through, it ain't that you trying to put in the hall. You give them what we used to call actual facts. You know, so this is really deep, bro.
That was something that I intended also. I mean, like I said, there's different ways you can make a story like this. So a lot of people suspect or expected that, like when you do this, like that it's like I said, it's gonna be like kind of like to make black people just feel good or something, like or we got the upper hand, or people would think it would be something like the story is what would, if black people were the masters, how would it have been? But this is not what the movie is. It is not how black people would have done. I said, no, I'm making this in a way where they are going to be exactly what was in history. I think that's more important, to make it like that. It speaks so it's not so, it's a fiction, but everything that happens is real.
It's not really changing the dialogue. It's not creating the compassion that black people might have. It's giving it the way it's raw, serving it up just the way it is. Just like the white people did it, that's how the black people are doing it. Is that what you're talking
yes,
about?
in the film.
Okay.
And I'm intentionally. Right. I'm saying I'm intentionally doing it. I could have went ahead and just like, black folks would have been nicer. But I'm not. That ain't the story I'm trying to. That's not the story I'm trying to tell.
Can you do us a favor and just share with us one of the challenges that you had in bringing this in to light and to making it a reality, and then also give us that information so our viewers will know where to see this film and when
again.
again.
A little bit too, Murphy. It's okay. Is that possible?
What's
Just
that?
maybe 5 minutes or so after.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're right here
Absolutely.
now. Why don't you get that out, because what we want to do is I want to make sure you give out this December the 10th date, what they need to be doing, and then if you would stay over maybe 5 minutes in the next segment for us, we'd be appreciative.
Okay, yeah. So, no doubt. So first, let me get this out the way. Yeah. So the name of the film is The Other Foot. It's the St. Louis premiere of my short film. My name is Rashid McMahon. It will be Saturday, December the 10th at 11 a.m. And basically the event will be at MX Movies. That's downtown St. Louis on Washington and 7th. And tickets, if you're interested in tickets, you can only get tickets on Eventbrite. So if you're hearing this or whatnot, you can just go to eventbrite.com and search The Other Foot St. Louis, and you should be able to find it.
You saying you can't show up down there and say, give me 2 tickets?
Nah, it's no tickets at the door.
Okay.
I mean, if it's still tickets available at the time, you could buy them online, but you have to get tickets at Eventbrite, yeah. So eventbrite.com. You just search The Other Foot St. Louis, and you should be able to find it. And about the film, it's the American South in the 1830s, but the slave race is white and the master race is black. It's a drama intended for mature audiences, and the event will go like this at 11 a.m. The doors pretty much open at 11 a.m., and that's the red carpet. You could come, you could take pictures and everything.
Go to a break.
Yeah, what you're going to do, you're going to come back and tell us what's happening on everything.
All right, we're going to check us out.
All right, then. Listen, I think we like this.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
It's good. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600 AM. Listen, quit playing.
Quit playing.
All right.
Keep it on lock.
Bye.
Awesome. Okay.
Your people were cursed. Your people were cursed by God to be slaves of all slaves to my people.
Are you ready for that?
I think so.
Well, all right. See, even God thinks you're guilty.
Yeah, one of the boys from the Jackson plantation ran a few hours back.
Better not be one of ours.
Please, Master, please! Until the Master is satisfied.
Owning slaves in my book, not losing.
Where is Mary?
The master's coming. Master coming.
Master, you know, can't none of us read.
Your people were cursed by God to be slaves of all slaves to my people.
Are you ready for that?
I think so.
Well, all right.
See, even God thinks you're guilty.
Yeah, one of the boys from the Jackson plantation ran a few hours back.
Better not be one of ours.
Please, Master, please!
Until the master is satisfied. Owning slaves in my place, not losing.
Huh? Don't nobody know nothing?
Where is Mary?
Laying it out.
Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah. We've got a very talented and intelligent young man here with us that has put together a film, a movie. Shahid, go take it away.
Well, he got to take it away because he was. I think Secretary asked him a question: how difficult was this? What you were doing, and how did you do it? I mean, dealing with movies, you know. And then you was talking about off the air. You being a chemist, and you kind of tied it in. Jump on back in there for us, please.
Yeah. So as far as making the movie, like the difficulty, I mean, it's difficulty in certain kind of ways. For one, like just the ideal of, like I said, switching it, like people don't really get that. But the thing is, like, you know, an actor comes in to try out, and they just work with what you give them. You give them information about this character, so they try to work and fill it in like that. Mm-hmm. But I will say this: it was very difficult for a lot of people trying out to get what I was trying to do. They didn't have all information about the movie, but just the concept. I'm just giving the basic concept. Mm-hmm. It was kind of difficult, but you just have to keep working. Like, I have people telling me, "Oh, I want to try out. It'd be a black person saying, oh, I could play a slave. I'm like, no, we switching it.
Yeah,
we switching it.
I was about to play.
Post-traumatic slave syndrome going on right now, right?
So wow, I mean, that's one thing. Like, that it just it was more proof that it's just so embedded in our mind that black folks are supposed to be slaves or whatever, something like that. So that was something you had to fight with. But actors are actors, and when you once you get the ones that you really want that can do what you want, I mean it wasn't as difficult. You just asking them, is any when you acting, you're making up or doing anything. Okay, so it wasn't too difficult in that kind of manner. It's just movie making. I put it like that. I mean, it's the difficulties of movie making.
Let me tell you what I want you to do this time. I want you to take your time and get this information, because now it's one thing to talk about it here, but 2 weeks from now, which is the 10th of December, at 11 o'clock, you're going to be on that red car. I'm going to be watching you too. I'm going to be watching you. Tell me about what's going to happen December the 10th. Take your time and get this information out in the next couple of minutes that we got. Take your time, please.
Yeah, so to make let everybody know, it's so the name of the short film is The Other Foot. It's going to be on Saturday, December the 10th at 11 a.m. at MX Movies. That's downtown St. Louis at Washington and 7th. And if you'd like to get tickets, you just go to eventbrite.com and you can search The Other Foot St. Louis. And you can only get tickets on Eventbrite. And as far as the event goes, it's at 11 o'clock, doors open at 11, and we'll have a red carpet. You can come, you can take pictures and everything and talk to different people. Enjoy, everybody can enjoy that. It's not just for actors or anything. Anybody can come and enjoy in that. And then the film will be at 12 noon. So we'll be showing the film at 12 noon. And then once the film is over with, we're going to have a Q&A with the director, myself, and a few cast members where the audience can make comments, ask questions, and we'll have a nice discussion about the film and everything. So that's what the event is, and I mean, we would love for many people to come out of it. We would love to sell the place out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing they got to say about Make America Great Again. I think this going to help them. This movie here, that's going to help them, because they're going to understand exactly what really happened. So one more time, how can they get you if they want to? Can they follow you some kind of way around here? What's your information to follow you?
Well, I mean, to follow. Well, I'm not on social media in a sense like that, but I mean, we actually do have a Facebook event. We have The Other Foot on Facebook. It's an event that you could, get information off of that. Okay. Also,
you have a website?
I don't have a website for the film per se. Other than, I mean, like, we do have the trailers, and they're on YouTube. You search The Other Foot trailer, you can find that. And then also it has the information there, just connect people back to getting to eventbrite.com to be able to get a ticket to come to the film.
I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning, being with us. I mean, I'm really honored, and to see you grow up like this, brother, and just to start, and then you're so humble with it. You really are. Yes. If nobody really understands who you are, I know how humble you are, and that's why Imam Jihad Muhammad, he always talks about you to me, always. Look how you looking now, just straight. May Allah bless you. All praise due to Allah. Thank you so much.
I appreciate y'all having me. I really do. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Thank you. I'll see you on the 10th.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to see you on the 10th.
I did want to talk a little bit about this thing with Kanye West.
Yes.
I don't follow him that much. Matter of fact, sometimes I think he's a little off kilter, but I mean, he's a billionaire, so he obviously knows something that I don't, and that is how to make money and be extremely successful. Now, he has gotten a little bit more controversial in that he's made some comments about Jews, and I was trying to figure out how that was going to play out, because it seemed as if he had made those statements and was just out there by himself. But now I hear that other popular African Americans are saying, how come nobody's coming to Kanye's defense about the things that he's saying when they in fact believe or know that some of these things to be true? All right. Now, let's go forward a little bit. Now, since that time, Kanye has said that he is going to run for president of the United States in 2024. And now, what I picked up on was where he now he wants to kickstart the campaign, the 2024 presidential campaign, with a clothing line, Ramon, and a $20 million campaign that he's spending $20 million on to promote a clothing line. And so he's got this, what they plan on coming forward with, or these Ye, or is it Ye or is it Ye? Ye 24 merchandise. And it's like, I guess, T-shirts and hats and things, and he's selling them for $20 a piece. Now, okay, but I guess what concerns me about this little part of it is I never, in my life, in my political career, and people that I know who have gotten involved in politics, we never got involved with the thought of selling merchandise and making money off of our candidacies. You know what I'm saying? Now, our traditional ways of making money is you call people, you ask them to make contributions, some 110, 50, thousands, and then you also have events. But I never, it was never an issue of using my merchandise to make money. Like buttons, remember, Shaheed, all those buttons, we've had little $5 campaigns just to be able to buy buttons.
Yeah, I still got my buttons.
Yeah, right, and what we do with them, we give them away. That, because the button wasn't necessarily the product. You know what I'm saying? The candidate is the product. Everything is secondary to the candidate. We got those T-shirts.
I remember all that.
We spent a lot of money for the T-shirts, but what we do with them, we gave them away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Caps. We spent a lot of money on caps. What we do with the caps? We gave them away. So I'm just a little bit concerned about his announcement of his presidential campaign and now the announcement of the merchandise piece. So that makes me wonder, was that all part of it initially?
Now, to be honest, I'm just not hearing about this just recently. When I say real recently, but what I do know, and I'm not going to add to it and I'm not going to take away from it, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan addressed thousands upon thousands of men. And for the first 15 or 20 minutes of it, he addressed this thing with Kanye in a powerful way that he literally told the ADL, if y'all want to fight somebody, come on, deal with me. Don't start dealing with them, because anybody that don't go along with y'all is a problem. And I'll come in with a statement that said, they Googled it. I'm not sure how much they can find, but I can tell you for a fact, he talked about him and Brother Kyrie Irving, and he didn't pussyfoot around with it, I can tell you that. When the minister addressed something, he addressed it, and he really told them, hey, leave them alone, want y'all fight with me. They got a bad habit of anything that happens is anti-Semitic, but what they don't do is use this word anti-Kemetic, meaning black folks. Because I'm going to tell you something, y'all can take it whichever you want, and I'm only speaking for Brother Shaheed. I'm not speaking for Hallelujah 1600. I'm not speaking for this young man that's sitting to my left or nobody here. I'm speaking. I was blessed to go to Ghana. And when I went to Ghana, I went through the slave capsule, dungeons. They're not no damn capsules. And what it shows you there, whether you want to accept it or not, and I know they're going to have a problem, but this is a fact. The reason that we're in slavery, the Jews financed it. This is what they don't tell you. This is what I've seen with my own eyes. In Ghana, Accra, Ghana, I saw this with my own eyes, that they financed everything about what has happened to us as a people. It was the so-called Jews who financed it.
Now, what makes you
Because this is what
they, what is it that they did?
What they did
specifically
is everything from ships, you name it, from anything that we had, they had to do to be able to get us here in America, or to keep us in this condition. They were financing it. I mean, they backed the money. They gave the money to even after we got here on the plantations. If they needed money to be able to run their plantation, knowing that they was going to be selling us as a people, because this was a government-sanctioned slavery.
Oh, absolutely.
So it ties into everything that happened. And I can't help that. I remember this was 35 years ago when I first seen it, but I've been back to Ghana 2 or 3 times, and it's never time that I get there that until you go, you won't understand this. Who absolutely is. You hear about the white folks who helped to get us in slavery. You hear about the Arabs, and it's true. But who you don't never hear about is them damn Jews. You never hear about their part in slavery and what they did to keep black people in slavery, which is anti-Kemetic. You talk about anti-Semitic, but damn it, talk about anti-Kemetic. This brother Anthony Shaheed speaking. I'm speaking for me. I ain't taking the damn thing back. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to add that in selling the T-shirts is really not that far off from what I've seen recently with campaigns. I know that I have purchased T-shirts myself for different candidates that were running, right? So he's just he's doing nothing different. He has a larger platform, but I know they didn't just give me the T-shirt.
Well, that was a long time ago, so it's probably morphed into something.
Now, Taylor did give me a button, but I know some candidates, you purchase the T-shirt, and that's a part of their campaign funding. That's a part of their fundraising.
Right. But what I'm looking at is like he's going a little bit further in that he is announcing
that he's running.
He's announcing that he's running, but he's also announcing a clothing line. You hear what I'm saying? So, I mean, you got the candidate, you running, say you are charging $10, $15 for a hat. Your initial desire, your initial drive is to go for the office that you're running for, not to have your clothing line right alongside of your announcement. It's kind of different. So
they say he's no longer a billionaire. I guess he's just being creative and getting back to where he was at this point.
It's about, so then it becomes, is it more about the money than it is about the service?
About the service. I think I want to say something about our guests, because then after a while I want to come back to this thing with the so-called Jews and this music and all this other stuff, because that's one of the reasons these people getting this stuff off these rappers and stuff, because they letting them put this out. But Secretary, would you do us the honors? I see our guest walked into this room and we talked about everything else and they ain't said nothing about our guest.
Yes.
Can you do us the honors, because you've been talking about him for about the last month and how excited you was to get him on. Now he on it and you act like he ain't here.
Well,
early this morning, he here in the studio this Saturday morning with us.
Saturday morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. We have none other than Julius B. Anthony himself. I'm just excited for you to be here. I found out and learned about the Believe Project through Mother Dr. Edna Hanks Pipes, and she actually introduced us. Yes. And so with that being said, Julius B. Anthony is the founder and president of the St. Louis Authors of Children's Literature and the Believe Project. And so I'm just excited to have you here to tell us more about that. Not only that, you've been a principal, an educator, you've been sitting in boardrooms, and you've was the founding principal of City Academy, and that's huge. And your passion is assuring that children read by third grade. Right? And you can tell it better than I can. So I'm just going to say, welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here. I love your energy. I love just who you are, your mannerism. And I love what you bring into the city of St. Louis, city and county. But your project is just not here. So welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Speak right into that mic. Don't worry.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, yes. So tell us about, first of all, St. Louis Children's.
So it's St. Louis Black Authors of Children's Literature. And our mission essentially is to ensure that all children are confident and competent readers by the end of third grade. But we have a particular interest in Black children being confident and successful readers by the end of third grade. We don't apologize for that because we know that Black children are in a nefarious situation when it comes to literacy, especially in the St. Louis metropolitan area. When we look at the data, 75% of all Black children in our region here in St. Louis annually fail the state-mandated exam in reading. So just think about that.
75%?
75%. And this is pre-COVID. In 2021, 86% of Black third graders failed the state-mandated exam in reading.
Third graders?
Third graders. Now, national research suggests that third grade reading success is the marker. Yeah. That you must be on grade level by the end of third grade in reading in order to make it to 12th grade. Because if you're not on third grade reading, you have a higher propensity of dropping out of school in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And so it's really important to be on grade level. Not only that, there's a direct link between third grade reading success and being able to be a thriving adult. Mm-hmm. So when you think about in the St. Louis metropolitan region, if 75% of black third graders are failing in reading, then what's happening to our citizens? Mm-hmm. What happens to those third graders? Up, yeah. They're growing up. Yeah. And this is a generation. Yes. Now,
what is the word that if you're not illiterate but you're not really proficient in reading? Is there a middle?
No, there's no middle.
Okay. All right. Okay.
There's no middle ground. Okay. You either are literate or you're not.
Okay. All right.
And so just think about this. And here's the thing with St. Louis. This is not a new issue for us. This is generational. So there's never been a generation in St. Louis where the majority of blacks in our city have been fully literate.
Mm-hmm. And that would be 51%.
Yes.
Yeah. We normally, are you saying it's always been, or
it's always been historically, and that's simply because of the way that we've been schooled. Mm-hmm. When you look at how the information, so let's think about this. Less than 6% of all text that's presented to American children in school tell stories of Black, Latinx, and indigenous people.
Say that again.
Less than 6% of all text, all information presented to children in American schools tell stories about Black,
yes,
Latinx, and people of color. Okay? So the majority of text that's presented to all kids tell stories about white people.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so if you're in a school situation, you're there 8 hours a day, and the expectation is that you're to learn how to read. Mm-hmm. But nothing in that information says anything about who you are. None of the images look like you.
You hitting hard.
Oh, yeah.
You got my total attention. That's how I like it.
You know, none of the stories reflect your experiences.
Yeah. Well, when we were in high school, I mean, it's Central. You know, we had these big, thick history books, This is America's Story, and all this other kind of stuff. They then tried to introduce some African-American history, and the book was this thick. That was it.
No, we got to go to a break. We're going to come back on that point.
Sure.
Yeah, that you know, when I look back at that, that causes us some concern. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show. We'll be right back. Keep it on lock. Quit playing. Yeah. Whoa.
We'll be back on exactly 3 seconds, brothers and sisters. Share it now.
Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KETZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. We've got Brother Julius B. Anthony here sharing with us the importance of literacy, the importance of reading. Remember when we were in school, they used to say reading is fundamental. Yeah. Obviously, it is not, because we got over 70% of the people that are not reading at third grade level. So we got to do something about that.
Absolutely.
But I want you to tie back where you was, because you was talking about the images. We don't see images. And then the other bad thing, our history is taught in slavery, not before we got here. Our history starts in slavery. They don't give us the history and know how deep it was. So come on back where you was at. You hitting hard now.
Sure. And here's the interesting thing about it. Most black children don't even get the slavery history.
That's bad.
Because there's no history that's being taught when it comes to black people. And
erase all of it.
And erase it all.
Yeah. And now it's the campaign to not even want to talk about it
at all, period. There's a bill in the Missouri State Legislature right now.
Yeah. So they don't want to have their conscience pricked. You know, they don't even want to think about it. And see, that's one of the things I tell black people a lot of times when they talk about the white man got me down, the white person doing it. I said, brother, no, you way off base. White people don't even think about you.
Amen.
Have you just walked down the street and white people coming in up, they just look right past you. You are, that's what Invisible Man comes in. You are invisible to them. And now we are back. Now, we're instead of going forward, we're going backwards.
Yes.
Because now we don't, like they don't want to think about you, they don't want to have their kids think about you.
Well, in public education, it's always been the case. That hasn't changed in public. Black children have always been educated in a public educational system where they've been invisible. That's the issue.
Yes.
When you're in a situation where you are in a space all day, where you can't see yourself or have any experience that's relevant to yourself, you're rendered invisible in that space. No.
I totally agree. And not only in education, I teach health science. And it's just an issue just trying to get mannequins. You understand? And I think our mannequins might be a little bit more pricier than just the white mannequin or the pink colored mannequin. And just being able to see something that looked like you, you know what I'm saying, in a book or in a science room. Tell us about, go ahead, Mayor.
No, go ahead.
Tell us about the Believe Project, because we heard today about what you're bringing to St. Louis Public Schools. And I was able to witness the unveiling and the ribbon cutting at the Barack Obama. And the beautiful artwork on the wall and that space that the children now have before them. Tell us about the Believe Project and how you're going to change and how you're changing these statistics that we see right now.
So first, let me just say that I've been an educator for about 25 years, and I've only worked in communities that serve black children.
I like you already. I like you already.
And St. Louis Public Schools, is that right? You grew up in the...
I grew up in the St. Louis Public Schools, Jeff Vanderloo community, graduated of Dunbar Elementary School and Metro High School. And I've always been frustrated with how black children have been schooled in this country. Because not only is it a literacy issue, it's a way in which we think about how black children are being schooled. So how are they being schooled? It's a controlling factor. When black children go into school buildings, it's an act of taking away all of their agency. So how is that done? They walk into these buildings, and the first thing we say to them, don't talk, don't move. That means your voice is taken away from you. Your body is taken away from you. Don't think until I tell you to think. Don't open the book until I tell you to open the book. Your creativity and your innovation is taken away.
Initiative, too.
Initiative as well.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do is to change all of that, is to flip that script. And so we have this product that we call the Believe Project, where we're building spaces in schools that serve black children. We ask them to just give us one room. In that space, at the core of the space, are the books. We put 1,000 books in that space. And every book is considered a piece of black children's literature. That means every book has a black protagonist in that book. We focus on kindergarten through 3rd grade, but any student in that building could have access to this space. All of those books are new books. We don't take borrowed books or donated books. We buy all new books for the students because we think students deserve that. We also build a space where it looks like someone's home, so it's a home-style type setting. Couches, chairs, comfortable pillows, everything is new. There's a dining room set, all of that. We also have murals, large-size murals, that have large-size characters of black children and their diversity in terms of skin tone, hairdress, clothing. Now, why do we do that? We do that because we want black children to walk in that space and see themselves in a bold way, because they need to see themselves every day. And what's been so powerful about the mural is that the children have begun to give the kids in the murals names and have started reading to them. We also do author visits, local authors and national authors, and all of our kids get free copies of those authors' books. We also push in hip-hop artists because we know that literacy is more than just reading, it's music, it's theater, and it's art. We have a project that's called Black Windows, where we work with local artists, and they do portraits, paintings that show black children. And we have our children look through those paintings, and we say it's like they're looking through windows to see themselves in that artwork. And so those artists do artist visits. And so we have a partnership with Metro Theater, so our kids get to go see live theater. That live theater has something to do with a black voice. Our kids get mentor text that goes with it. So we saturate them with all these cultural black literacy experiences with an effort for them to gain interest in reading and literacy, for them to build self-awareness, self-love, self-confidence, and then to give them a sense of joy around the whole literacy process. Because quite often, when they're in school learning how to read, it's a traumatic experience.
Yes.
It's not a joyful one. And so what we're trying to do is to flip that and give them a joyful experience.
Let me ask you this. When I was, I think, it was fifth grade. In fifth grade, I had a teacher, I can't remember her name, it'll come to me, but she was big on book reports. You know, and then she would also have, she'd want us to read 10 books by the end of the year, and she'd give us a list of books. Is that something that you think is what they should be doing, or was that proper, or was it something off on that, or what? What are your thoughts on that?
There's nothing wrong with introducing books, of course, to kids, but I think it should be books that are high interest for children, and especially for children that are learning how to read. And I think that every book that a kid gets when they're learning how to read should be culturally relevant. That means that the protagonist should reflect their racial group, because that will connect them to the story. Because that's what you want at the end of the day. You want them to read and be interested in the read. Now they can go and read whatever they want once they connect to, once they learn how to read. Then you expand them into other ideas and other topics. The first thing to do is to read.
And give them a base.
And give them a base.
Because if they don't have that base first, with blackness, black consciousness, then it really throws everything off.
And the research suggests that as well. I want to just make sure we get the research, because here's the other thing. There are black educators who have done that research. We talk about Asa Hilliard, Jawanza Kanjufu, James Comer, all of those black educators. Absolutely. They've done that research. But here's the thing. The educational community have not respected that research.
Telling the truth.
They haven't respected it.
Show it. I don't know what you've been, boy.
Well, let me ask you, have they respected the research that states that when a child do not learn to read, or they're not successful in school, there's that pipeline from kindergarten to the penitentiary, have they respected that research? Because to my understanding, they're building more prisons based on that data.
We don't talk about that.
But you don't accept the research from the people that are actually trying to make it better.
That's purpose.
They don't. Here's the thing. The system only respects the Eurocentric view of how children should be educated, because the goal is to educate white children.
Because they ain't thinking about black people.
That's the point. So again,
talking.
The system is not designed to educate black children. The system is designed to do exactly what it's doing.
Yeah.
And it's creating and producing exactly what it's supposed to create and produce.
It teaches you how to hate yourself. We're the only people, if you think about it, has been taught that you can't figure out how to not to say we hate ourselves. We can't never get it together. Just that. Those are not mistakes. That's done by design.
Exactly.
A brother by name who we know, I'm talking about Naeem Akbar, did a piece, and I asked you to Google this here. Brother Naeem Akbar. This tape here got to be about 30 or 35 years old, and it's called How to Make a Slave. That's what it's called, How to Make a Slave. And I would love to share that. I'm just trying to figure how I can share it because I got it on.
Bring some excerpts from it.
Okay. But what he shows is that they want the new history books to show what we're doing to each other. They don't want the history books to show that they hung black women up by the nipples of their breasts and snatched babies out the womb. They don't want to show how we got men took on another man's name. Men take on women. Women take on men's name. We should never have white folks' names. These are not biblical names. We have all these names got a white folks' name. He showed how the new history books that they want to write, there was me shooting Mary Bosley and Mary Bosley shooting Brother Shaheed, or the confusion we got. He don't want to show what they did and how they did it. See, this is systematic the way they did it. The way they did it has been orchestrated, and they damn near can't miss the way they're doing it. The brother just said how Imam Muhammad said, if you went to a church for 400 years and a white children start saying a black Jesus, how would they think? But notice how they changed the role. Jesus is black. I'm not even going to debate with it. But the mere fact that 90% of our people don't know that, and then some of them say, yeah, I heard he was black too, it's a problem. This is done by design, so therefore you don't want to worry about putting chains on people. You put their minds and clock everything to their genes and behavior. Naeem Akbar asked a question, what's worse, a man who beats me, who rapes my wife, who make me take on a name, or a man who goes into my genetic mechanism, clock things into my genes, clock things into my behavior, hypnotize me and have me in a hypnosis without my permission.
Epigenetics.
Yeah.
Good
And that's
point.
what schooling
Good point.
does.
I want to ask you, when I was coming up in the Ferguson Forest School District, they would pull me out of class. I had to go see a reading specialist. Cedric the Entertainer's mother was my teacher. Her name is Miss Kyle. She rest in peace. But she would pull me out of class, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I'm going to admit, sometimes I was a little embarrassed about being pulled out. However, just sitting down with her did improve my reading scores. It did improve. But as we see now, we have such a shortage of teachers. I heard a mother say a couple of weeks ago that her child is reading at an 18% level. So that means that I think 82% of the students in his age bracket is reading better than he is. But the district has 88%. Thank you for the math. I didn't have a math specialist either. But anyway, so I wanted to say this though. The district that this child is in stated they couldn't give him special services, reading assistance, because they don't have the help. They have too many students that are reading at a less proficient level than this young man, so they cannot assist him. And I was like, whoa. And it's happening not only in this district, but other districts throughout St. Louis. Just not enough teachers, resources in place to help with this reading. But the Believe Project will change this.
It will help support children becoming better readers. And it will help them because it will change the way that children gain their own agency around learning.
Yes.
And if you have your own agency around learning, you don't need that extra resource. Because this is what the Believe Project is attempting to do. It's attempting to help children take ownership of their own learning. And so in these spaces, we make may be the wrong word. We ask the schools to sign a contract committing themselves to making that space a yes space for children. So that means that children get to decide what they want to do in that space, instead of this being a day where teachers tell children everything to do. So this is what I believe, and this is my educational philosophy. It's a constructivist philosophy. When children understand how to learn and how they're learning, they'll do it on their own. Because this is the reality. Children are learning all day outside of the school.
And if they got a phone,
thank you. They're learning all kind of stuff outside of the school.
Seeing their father being Mary Bosley. Think about what Sydney was thinking about when she was young, Mary Bosley, that she could see her father being a black man. Think how, I'm just using me because it's me. Think how my daughters and them look when they start seeing you in the paper. Think how your daughters and son look at the secretary seeing you now on YouTube or whatnot. It's something about when children are reading that they're excited about seeing something. I always go back to Mary Bosley because we were excited about him in our campaign. I haven't seen that yet. You know, I'm not going to debate about nothing. When I seen what we had, Mary, I don't see that. That what we created, you don't see. And that's what I'm saying. Until children can read on that and see that just reading. I remember when we was little, they used to have the bazooka bubble gum and used to have
little comic.
You got to be able to catch people's attention. And if you can't catch their attention and show them their grandfather, their father, at some point they're going to go through that book and say, this is my granddaddy here. Look, it's going to make them feel good about it. That's why they came up with the streets, Naeem Akbar said, Washington and Lincoln. You got most of the streets in most of the major cities, 95% of them are named after white folks. So in the subconscious of your mind, you think about Washington when you're driving down Washington, and Lincoln when you turn on Lincoln. Oh, he went into this thing.
Yes. Let me ask you this now. What, I know these numbers and these figures that you've given us, is this kids in the public schools?
These are children in the public school system. But let me say this. Let me say two things about those numbers. These are black children in St. Louis in all public schools, not just the ones that serve majority black students. These are black students in Ladue, Clayton. The majority of the black children in Ladue and Clayton are doing just as poorly in reading as black children in St. Louis public schools. So that's one thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say, because I've been part of the private school world, we already announced that I was the founding principal of City Academy. And see, private schools don't have to publicly tell what they're doing because they're not mandated to do it.
They don't have to report. Exactly. What was that Harris Stowe got? Higher Learning Commission.
Right, but I can tell you, black children are doing just as poorly in private education as they're doing in public schools. Why? Because they're being schooled the exact same way.
And see, and to that point, you know, I had to bring this up, and you know, it's a sore point with a lot of people. The desegregation program, the voluntary desegregation program, when they really drilled down and started examining what that was all about. It was really about black people wanting their kids to go to school with white people. All right. And so they said, okay, you got your kids going to school with white people. Then they came back and did an analysis of it, and it showed that the black kids that are going to school with the white kids, their test scores were no higher than the test scores of the kids in the city.
Now, why is that? Why do you think that's the case?
Because they're out there with them white folks and they feel in fear when they go out there and see that beautiful living out there and see all that nice.
I think it's deeper than that.
Go ahead, tell the story.
I think it's because it's the way they're being schooled. Yeah. We are invisible in any educational system in this country.
But we want that. You got black people that they want that so badly, you know, and I was trying to say, okay, you got it, but let's step on through it. So now that your kids have gone to school with these white people, did any of those kids that they went to school with invite them into a business deal?
Oh, hell.
Did any of those people, those white kids that they went to school with, invite them to participate in a major project of some sort? Now, what you want is, well, not what you want, what what you got was you got your kids invited to the white people's house for a birthday party. You got right, and then as they got older, you got your kids invited to a white person's reception for something, but nothing economic.
Right.
Nothing
We
economic.
do have to say this because
You got to get your information out. What you got to say. This is what you
Okay,
got.
right. I want to know because I don't want to leave this conversation because some people will say the counter argument. Well, Mayor Bosley did well and he came through those systems. I did well. I came through those systems. How did we do well? And I say that we are anomalies because there was something outside of that system.
Okay.
Our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mama told me, my daddy told me when
The same system. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we get that out. So people will say that.
You got quit fooling around.
Julius B. Anthony.
Please.
St. Louis Black Authors of Children's Literature.
A little slower.
St. Louis Black Authors of Children's Literature. Our next Believe Project opening will be at Frable Literacy Academy, December 6th at 1 o'clock. It's open to the public. Please come join us.
December the 6th. Say that again.
December the 6th. That's a Tuesday. Everybody must register. You can go to Eventbrite and register. We'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony. We have 8 Believe sites. This will be our 8th one. We'll open our 9th one in the spring. Join us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in with us this morning, man. This was a beautiful this was beautiful.
Are we through? No, we can
I would like to take it to a
We only got 10 more seconds.
Hold on, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. Keep it on lock. We'll be right back. Yeah. Oh.
Let's take a
Now, yes. Welcome back, St. Louis. You're listening to the Freeman Bosley Jr. Show on KTZ 1600. Hallelujah AM. You know, we got the doctor here. We're talking about some heavy stuff. Sure. Dr. Anthony, and I'm hoping some of you all are paying attention. We probably can't get everybody, but if we can just touch a few to get you to start thinking. See, your mind's been hijacked. Your brain has been hijacked, see, and you don't know it. And so that's the purpose of shows like this, to cause you to at least, just want to prick it. Right. You just want to prick you just a little bit so you can start thinking. But Doc, what I'm concerned about, like what you said, why is it that we had distinguished ourselves as a result of the education that we got, and I was trying to get around to the fact saying that my parents, our families, this is their expectation. And I think families do have expectations, but the main thing about that, as individuals, we didn't want to disappoint them. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, I was a goofball. I did all kind of stuff in school. I'd play and carry on and everything, but I was still focused on getting the lesson. You hear what I'm saying? Now, what I did was, though, I would just find the minimum amount that I needed to do. You see what I'm saying? Just to satisfy. And then I'd free me up to act up. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't immerse myself in it to really excel academically. And that, I guess that varies from individual to individual. But my main thing, though, I knew, hey, look, you got to get out of grade school. When you go to high school, you got to get out of there. That's what your parents expecting you to do. And then my parents were expecting me to go to college. So those are things that kind of are some of the driving forces
And I bet you they gave you other exposure and experiences outside of school.
Oh, yeah.
Did they take you to out of town on trips?
Oh, yeah,
Did
we
they
traveled
take you,
quite a bit.
Did
Yeah.
they take you to the boys club down the street?
Oh, well, Charter member Herbert Hoover.
That's my point.
Yeah.
All of those are literacy experiences. I don't want to take up all, because I know you got to get on another topic, because all of that helps.
Have you back.
Right. Because a lot of children don't get those experiences. And that's what helps you to excel beyond what the school involves you with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before we let him go, I just want to say I really love that Mr. Rogers' approach that you do on YouTube. Guys, go to YouTube and make sure you check out the Believe Project pilot show, where he featured authors from St. Louis, authors like Asia Starr and I don't know them all, but I do know
Wren, Thomas Deere, a lot of local authors.
The On Your Now show.
And bring you on next week. I think we should do a part 2 on this, man, because we're rushing on education, and education should never be something
primary.
Right.
We have to do it like this. So you on the spot, but we're not. You won't have no problem on this show as long as you see everything our way.
And we definitely want to shout out Dr. Kevin Adams for his support.
Oh, ain't no secret. Ain't no secret.
You don't have a
project.
collaboration going?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And we'll try to even get Dr. Adams
And
come on.
I won't bring in, that'll be a good time for me to bring in this book, The Miseducation of the Negro,
yes.
by Dr. Carter G. Woodson.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that's Dr. Collins from
That
Hairstone
piece
on
is
the
heavy.
week.
That piece on how to make a slave. But next week, when I get a chance to, brother and sister, I would like to really jump into this piece about who kept Jim Crow,
Right.
and how it just ties into everything that's happening now. How everything, as far as going back to what's that piece they doing now? I was listening to a piece on Bob Law, and I don't have all for Spectrum. Spectrum started back every bit, damn near close to 100 years ago, he said, with just two-way radios. Now Spectrum is all over, and how they put everything, and they had to make sure there was no blacks involved.
But the basics is, Dr. Carter G. Woodson wrote,
that's right. You want to keep something.
if you control a man's mind,
Control his thinking.
you don't have to worry about his actions. You don't need to tell him to stand here or go yonder. You don't have to tell him about his proper place. He will find his proper place and stand in it.
That's right.
You don't have to tell him to go to the back of the door. He will go to the back door without being told. His education makes it necessary.
That's right.
That's the key.
So next week, brother, we definitely need you here. And maybe do 1 or 2 segments with us, because whatever we talk about ain't more important than our youth. Brothers and sisters, if I can just finish this one part, because we talk about these raps, and you see a lot of this stuff out here is so degenerating. I mean, the things that they're saying and the things they're doing, they have a real draw. It's like a magnetic pull on our children, our youth. Our youth listen to these rappers, but if you listen to and think about it, how do these rappers get a chance to be in the position they are? The more grindy and nasty and filthy it is, that's what sells, and that's why you pay attention to it, unfortunately. And this is, if anybody was saying anything about some Jews right now, they'll make them apologize. I ain't gonna apologize to them about a damn thing. I'm on record, Brother Shaheed. But I'm saying they make you apologize. How come they let this get out? If they don't let you do nothing about with them, why are they letting brothers putting credit cards and the sisters behind, or just having sisters being real ratchet? That's where the problem is coming from. See, this is what they don't want to address. They don't want to say anything about this right here. And at some point, we got to talk about. I'll say this last thing. The NGA, they got stuff going on right now. You can't say anything about the Jewish community. Right now, as we speak, I dare you to Google and tell Brother Shaheed, call in and tell me, Shaheed, you don't know what the hell you talking about. They got stuff that you have to sign down there saying you won't have nothing to say about the Jews. Now, what the hell do the FBI agency have to do with the so-called Jews?
Now, wait, hold on now.
Yeah, okay, come on. You want to dig down in?
Yeah.
Can we do a whole segment on it next week?
If that's what you need. But look, where is the documentation that requires that?
What I'll do is I'll make sure I have a brother give me what he told me. He said that he
give you what he told you.
No. This is real deal.
Okay.
What they're absolutely saying with the NGA, the piece down there that they're doing with the spy agency.
I don't know where it is.
In order for you to be able to work down there, you got to sign paperwork to say that you'll never have anything to say against the Jewish community on no level.
And I just want to
So
say,
let's go with the
I'd like
receipts
to
on
see
that,
Yeah.
and then we can go back and revisit that topic.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make sure that's.
So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And what we want to
Thank
also,
you.
yes, sir. What we want to talk about on Monday, the 28th,
Thank you.
that there will be a Missouri Supreme Court hearing for Brother Kevin Johnson, who they're planning to execute on the 29th of this month. And so, again, Monday,
That's this month.
November the 28th,
Yes.
there will be a hearing with the Missouri Supreme Court
Yes.
to talk about the injustice, the racial injustice claims of Bob McCullough prosecution of Kevin Johnson. That hearing is at 1:30. You can go to the link on the court website if you're not able to make it. Again, you can view the hearing on the link on the court website at St. Louis County.
Yeah. Okay. Look, before we run out of time, this is on your kind of dovetailing on one of your points, Brother Shaheed.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. People of color, this is an article that I was reading, people of color are disproportionately targeted by unhealthy food advertising.
Absolutely.
And they're talking about the U.S. food and beverage companies spend millions, that's right, spend millions of dollars to target black and Latino customers. They have advertising that focus on high-calorie, low-nutrient products like candy and sugar drinks.
Franken foods that
And
Minister
to
Webb
your
was talking
point,
about.
they use hip-hop or Latino celebrities.
Ain't no secret. That's what they do. This book, I have a book here that hopefully I can bring this back next week. I won't
Standard
forget.
American
This book
Diet.
is called Subliminal Seduction. And it tells you how people go past your conscious mind into your subconscious mind, and you're not even conscious of what they're doing to you, and they have you doing all kind of things. You never go into a place that they talk about in this book and get some ice cream, and if you ask for vanilla and chocolate, they always put the chocolate on the bottom and the vanilla on the top.
Okay.
So you guys got this information right after Thanksgiving.
And we're going to develop that.
Congratulations, Lonnie G.
Get
Turnip
us some,
Seed.
we're going to get a few of these issues,
Yes, sir.
and talk about it and see what people think about it,
Yes,
because they are subliminal.
It's subliminal,
All right.
but they real.
Real quick, congratulations to Lonnie G. Turnip Seed Jr. for launching, he's having us launch party tonight, his Roku channel.
Turnip seed.
Turnip Seed, launching his
what-
TGFX TV, the Independent Artist Network. So congratulations.
Give me that name again.
His name is Lonnie G. Turnip Seed Jr. The owner
Well,
of
Julia, thank you
TC
for coming in
Graphics
this
and
morning with us.
Visionary.
Thank you so much for coming in. We close. We got 10
Guys, we
seconds.
got a
Now.
hard
Let's close it
stop.
on down. We got to close it down.
All right, let's go. Catch us next week on Freeman Bosley Jr. Show, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Keep it on lock. Quit playing.
KTZ 1600. Hallelujah.
Quit playing. Hey, we run out of time.